Hello again, and let's get back to list part 3 here, where we kind of ran this program last time. And as it looks a little bigger to you, I did increase the size a little bit. I was a little worried that even with high resolution, we'd lose some of this, or it might be too hard to read. If you have any problems with that, just go ahead and throw something up on the Q&A. That's the best way to get it, and I'll make all subsequent videos after that, bigger or smaller, whatever you want. But let's go ahead and hit the play button to see what's happened. So we added The Exorcist and then inserted the Titanic, so I guess it's appended The Exorcist and inserted the Titanic. Then we printed it all out. And we deleted DVD 1, but what did we delete out? DVD 1 was Titanic, so Titanic should be gone. And let's go ahead and verify that by just going ahead and doing copy and pasting that again. And you know what? I'm just going to take this guy out because I don't really think we need to know any of that. We already verified it. And as you can see, Titanic is gone, unfortunately, both in the movie and in real life. Yeah. So the nice thing about this is it's nice that you can print this all out at once. The problem with this is that you have to do either a mad dump, or up till now we had to write out one of the spaces at a time. But we have some kind of cool things that we can do. One of which, and you know what, I'm going to throw in another value from the book that I kind of forgot to mention last time. Why don't we sort this in alphabetical order? Because actually, but I'm going to take out the word "the" there because that always bothers me when I go to the T section. I see a bunch of "thes," so we'll just make Exorcist there. We won't worry about. We'll worry about prepositions and articles later. So right now we will just go with these kind of basic names. So, but what I want to do is sort them from Avengers through what's our last one? Well, I guess the Titanic's gone, but Office Space will probably be on it. So how do I do that? Pretty simple. DVD.sort, and it's going to take the look of the append. Now notice I'm not putting anything in there because I just want the whole thing done. So why sort a piece of it when I can sort it all? So let's go ahead and do that, and then let's add our new thing for the day, which is 4 and disk. Yeah, I'm going to call it small disk in DVD colon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit of a loop, but I'm going to create this little dummy variable called disk that's going to go through that list in one at a time. So in other words, it's going to grab Citizen Kane, shove it in disk. And then we're going to do a loop back, then it's going to grab Office Space. And then it's going to go back, and then it's going to go Avengers, and then it's go back, and it's going to go Exorcist. So it's only going to grab one piece or one element from this list at the same time. And just notice your syntax here. Pretty simple. The only thing you really have to worry about is this colon, because if you have programmed in other languages, they usually box things in with like curly brackets or curly braces, whatever you prefer. Or something that kind of controls what we refer to as the scope, meaning that that everything inside there gets done for a specific action, in this case a loop. So, but Python doesn't do that. What Python does is say everything that's indented falls for this. So in other words, if I were to do print and then disk, which is all I need to do. Oops, I forget. I always forget my parentheses. Sometimes I forget how I think Python's too forgiving. But in this case, it's not that forgiving. We do have to have that to make sure that the print combines everything in one. So when I do this, it's going to write out everything in the latest DVD list. And remember, we've sorted this, so this should give us a nice little alphabetical order. And in fact, let me just for clarity's sake, let me go ahead and comment out those print lines. So now it's going to take Avengers 2, which is A, C, E, O. So it's going in alphabetical order. The other thing you'll notice is now it's doing a carriage return after each one, and that's due to the loop, because it's going to go in here, print disk, put it on its own line, print disk on its own line, print disk on its own line. But remember, disk is changing values. So at first, at the 0th, disk is equal to Avengers 2. Then it comes on back up to the for statement, changes disk to Citizen Kane, and then disk turns into Exorcist, and then disk turns into Office Space. And then when it hits the end of the list, it's done. It knows to stop. Okay, so if I were to do print disk again, actually let's just do a copy paste. Probably the world's worst programmer because I hate typing. So I had to copy and paste just to make sure everything is right, because I'm bound to fumble over something. And as you can see again, these guys are both in the loop. It goes to Avengers 2, so it calls disk Avengers 2, and then it prints it out once, prints it out twice, goes back to the top. That temporary variable now gets assigned to Citizen Kane, does Citizen Kane twice. Now, the reason why these are indented is not only for clarity's sake, but watch what happens when I don't indent it. So I'm going to push, and it's going to say Avengers 2, just like last time, where the second Avengers 2 is not there. It goes to, because it comes here, comes back to for statement, the Citizen Kane, Exorcist, and Office Space. Then it gets out of that for statement and spits out Office Space again. Why? Because disk is, again, a temporary variable that's just holding on to Office Space for the meantime. Since Office Space was the last piece in, that's what it held on to, and that's what it can print out. So you have to remember these kind of two parts to Python. One, the colon says that it's going to do something, and it possibly could be grouped. But the only way to actually get that group is to indent. And the weird thing is about, watch this, and oops, Control Z. There's a PEP 8 video that you'll probably be seeing, or you may have already saw, where we talk about the for space standard for tabbing. But you can have something as ugly as this. Oops. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Well, actually, it might have turned out different for each one of you. Unindent does not match the outer indent level. So in this case, it actually caught the fact that these are not the same indent level. And it'll try it again, same thing. But I've done it before. In fact, I just did a day at school with a different version of Visual Studio where it actually printed this out. So be aware at home that you want to make sure that this is going to be flush with the for. So if you don't want it to print inside that for statement. But that's nice of the compiler to catch that now. So, and if you notice, because the last print was indented, it's new Visual Studio is going to try to indent it. Older Visual Studios might go straight flush again with the for statement. Depends on what you have. And I'm going to cut this one here now, and we're going to, believe it or not, you're going to do list 4. I know you're kind of getting sick of lists, but they are important and they are useful, so that's why they're actually in these 3 chapters along with those if statements. But let's take a look at, let's keep taking a look at them so we can really manipulate things.